The current deficiencies of the Afghan government are well known at this point. It's a very corrupt government. The president is in via corrupt elections a few months ago. The corruption is rampant. The drug lords are beginning to work with the Taliban. That's how the Taliban are financing their efforts against the U.S. forces and the Afghan forces. The warlords are challenging the central government. There is no real sense of national unity. It's a very tribal structure. The central government has not generated any confidence in their abilities to govern. And the U.S. policy at this point is to try to stabilize that government and reduce the corruption to the point where it's acceptable to the Afghan people, at the same time improving the Afghan security and military forces to the point where they can protect the country from the Taliban themselves. This is America's third chance to do this, and it's the most difficult. In 1988, through American help, the Soviets who had occupied Afghanistan for almost 9 years were driven out of the country completely. The United States then had the opportunity to conduct a massive aid program to Afghanistan to strengthen the central government. But the United States walked away from Afghanistan and left it almost in a state of chaotic civil war. In 2003, after 9/11, the U.S. again invaded Afghanistan. Actually, the first units went into Afghanistan in November of 2001, barely 6 weeks after 9/11. And very shortly, again, the Taliban were completely driven out of Afghanistan. Ultimately, by 2002, the United States had about 22,000 troops in Afghanistan, had dedicated units looking for Osama bin Laden, going after al-Qaeda. But unfortunately, all of these units were withdrawn and moved to prepare for the war on Iraq. Ultimately, the Taliban moved back into Afghanistan, and this takes us to the point where we are today. It is now questionable the extent to which, in the time limits the President has proposed, basically 2011, whether the United States can train as many Afghan forces as necessary. The Afghan army is 90% illiterate. Their loyalties are to the warlords. Again, it's a very corrupt country and administration and army and regime. The security forces, the police forces, are more corrupt than any other segment of society. And yet part of our policy is predicated on training and improving the capabilities of the security forces. This is going to be an enormous task. It would have been much easier to have done in 1988, much easier to have done in 2003. It's questionable, however, whether we can abandon Afghanistan for the third time.